Join me as I dive deep into the teachings of Jesus and challenge everything you thought you knew about belief. Jesus Christ is a name that echoes through the corridors of history, a figure who dared to challenge the status quo and shake the very foundations of belief. His teachings were revolutionary, calling into question the traditional norms and values of his time, and inviting people to rethink their understanding of the world. In a society where power was held by the few and the many were oppressed, Jesus' message of love, compassion, and forgiveness was seen as a threat to the established order. His teachings flew in the face of conventional wisdom, questioning the authority of the ruling elite and challenging the people to think for themselves. It's no wonder that his ideas were met with resistance and hostility, as those in power saw their grip on society slipping. The conflict between traditional beliefs and Jesus' revolutionary ideas was very real, and it's this struggle for acceptance that makes his story so compelling. Jesus was not afraid to challenge the religious leaders of his day, oftentimes taking them to task for their hypocrisy and narrow-mindedness. In doing so, he faced ridicule, scorn, and even violence, yet he remained steadfast in his commitment to spreading his message of love and redemption. As Jesus traveled from town to town, preaching and teaching to anyone who would listen, he left a trail of disruption in his wake. The crowds were drawn to his charisma and conviction, but the authorities saw him as a troublemaker, someone who was overturning the apple cart and threatening the established order. The tension between Jesus and the powers that be was palpable, and it would eventually lead to his downfall. One of the most striking aspects of Jesus' teachings was his insistence that we should love our enemies, not just our friends. This was a radical idea, one that flew in the face of conventional wisdom and challenged the way people thought about conflict and relationships. In a world where an eye for an eye was the norm, Jesus' message of forgiveness and mercy was seen as foolishness. But Jesus didn't stop there. He also taught that we should forgive those who trespass against us, not just once or twice, but 70 times 7. This was a revolutionary concept, one that challenged the way people understood justice and morality. By forgiving others, Jesus was not only showing mercy, but also setting an example for how we should treat one another. Jesus' actions and messages were also deeply subversive, challenging the social norms of his day. He hung out with prostitutes and tax collectors, people who were shunned by society, and he treated them with dignity and respect. He also challenged the purity laws that governed Jewish life, ignoring the strict rules about cleanliness and contamination. By doing so, he was making a powerful statement about the nature of God and the value of every human life. Jesus' most famous sermon, the Sermon on the Mount, is a masterclass in countercultural thinking. In it, he presents a vision of a world turned upside down, where the poor are blessed, the meek inherit the earth, and those who hunger and thirst for righteousness are filled. This was a transformative vision, one that challenged the status quo and invited people to imagine a different way of living. It was a call to revolution, a call to rethink the values and priorities of society. At the heart of the Sermon on the Mount is a radical challenge to the way we think about power and authority. Jesus is saying that true power doesn't come from wealth or status, but from humility and service to others. This was a direct threat to the Roman Empire, which was built on the back of military conquest and economic exploitation. By challenging the dominant narrative, Jesus was setting himself up as a rival to the emperor himself. As Jesus looked out over the crowds gathered before him, he saw a people who were hungry for change, hungry for a different way of living, and he knew that his message of love and redemption was the key to unlocking that change. The Sermon on the Mount is a powerful statement of Jesus' vision for humanity, a vision that is both deeply personal and profoundly political. Jesus' teachings continue to challenge and inspire people today, offering a radical alternative to the status quo. As we reflect on our own beliefs and values, we would do well to ask ourselves, what would Jesus do in this situation? How would he respond to the challenges we face today? By embracing his teachings, we can discover a new way of living, a way that is characterized by love, compassion, and forgiveness. As we conclude this journey into the teachings of Jesus, I want to invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you think Jesus' teachings can be applied to our modern world? What challenges do you face in living out his message of love and redemption? Let's continue the conversation. And if you want to explore more about the impact of Jesus' teachings on modern society, be sure to check out our next video.